ومن سيئات أعمالنا, and we seek refuge and protection with him from the evil of our own souls, our egos, and from the evil consequences of our actions. من يهده الله فلا مضل له. And of course, whoever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chooses to guide from his infinite mercy, from his compassion and his love, then know for sure that there is no one who can misguide this person. وَمَنْ يُضْلِلْ فَلَا هَادِيَ لَهُ. And then, of course, on the opposite end, whoever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allows to go astray from his wisdom, from his justice, no matter what you do to try to help that person, to guide that person, explain or break it down to them, no matter what logic you use or clear ayat, there's no one who can guide this person. وَأَشْهَدُ أَنْ لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا اللَّهُ وَحْدَهُ لَا شَرِيكَ لَهُ. And I testify in front of all of you that there is no God or deity who is truly deserving of our worship, our prayers, our sacrifices, our ultimate and deepest love and hope and trust, except Allah, him alone and without partners. وَأَشْهَدُ أَنَّ مُحَمَّدًا عَبْدُهُ وَرَسُولُهُ. And I further testify that Muhammad, the son of Abdullah, is his servant and final messenger. يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا اتَّقُوا اللَّهَ حَقَّ تُقَاتِهِ وَلَا تَمُوتُنَّ إِلَّا وَأَنْتُمْ مُسْلِمُونَ. O you who believe, fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, be mindful of him, have a consciousness and awareness of him, the fear and the consciousness and awareness that he is deserving of you, and don't die, rather, don't you dare die except in a state of submission to his will, and by that it is meant, do not die except as Muslims. يَا أَيُّهَا النَّاسِ اتَّقُوا رَبَّكُمُ الَّذِي خَلَقَكُم مِّن نَفْسٍ وَاحِدَةٍ. O humanity, fear your Lord who created you from a single soul, and that single soul being our father Adam. وَخَلَقَ مِنْهَا زَوْجَهَا. And then from him, Allah created his mate, our mother Eve or Hawa. وَبَثَّ مِنْهُمَا رِجَالًا كَثِيرًا وَنِسَاءً. And then from them both, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala populated the earth with many men and women. وَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ الَّذِي تَسَاءَلُونَ بِهِ وَالْأَرْحَامِ. And fear your Lord through whom you ask your mutual rights, and never cut the ties of kinship. إِنَّ اللَّهَ كَانَ عَلَيْكُمْ رَقِيبًا. Because indeed Allah is always and ever a watcher over you. يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا اتَّقُوا اللَّهَ وَقُولُوا قَوْلًا سَدِيدًا. O you who believe, again that reminder to fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, be conscious and aware of him, and not only that, but always speak the truth. يُصْلِحْ لَكُمْ أَعْمَالَكُمْ وَيَغْفِرْ لَكُمْ ذُنُوبَكُمْ. And in being people of the truth, standing up for the truth, defending the truth, and it never being far from your tongue, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will do something for you, which is he will repair your deeds. وَيَغْفِرْ لَكُمْ ذُنُوبَكُمْ. And on top of that, he'll forgive you your sins. وَمَنْ يُطِعِ اللَّهَ وَرَسُولَهُ فَقَدْ فَازَ فَوْزًا عَظِيمًا. And of course, whoever obeys Allah and his messenger have achieved the greatest success that anybody could ever hope to achieve in this life. ثُمَّ أَمَّا بَعْدُ. As to what follows. So, inshallah, before we actually get into the tafsir of the surah, or the explanation of the surah, the breakdown of it, and what does it mean, and how do we understand it, and how do we apply it, because all of that is a part and parcel of tafsir, right? We're going to talk a little bit about the surah itself. So, you're going to go past where it says the Surah Al-Asr, etc. Under there, number one, you're going to write the name of the surah. What's the name of the surah? And the name of the surah, and comes up because there are some times where different scholars have different opinions, and even sometimes amongst the Sahaba, as to the names of the chapters, right? And then how those names were chosen, right? So, for example, some would say, right, they are tawqifi, meaning that they were chosen by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, by the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Others would say no, rather, right, there's a limited amount of what's known as ijtihad, or like some decision that they had to make based on, analysis or whatever. But at any rate, the name of this surah is Al-Asr, the chapter of time. All right, the chapter of time. And as far as the next thing, so that's just the chapter of time, right? Wal Asr. No other discussion under that. Next thing, real quick, is the virtues of Surah Al-Asr, or virtues of the surah. meaning what makes this surah special? When we say the virtues of that chapter or the virtues of that surah, what makes it stand out, right, from the other ones? So you need to write that down because I'm literally giving you headings, all right? Virtues of the surah. We said name of the surah, next heading, virtues of the surah or the chapter, right? Number one is it's mentioned in At-Tabarani, right, that the companions or two of the companions كان رجلان من أصحاب رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم إذا التقيا لم يتفرقا حتى يقرأ أحدهما على الآخر سورة العصر إلى آخرها ثم يسلم أحدهما على الآخر. So it's mentioned that whenever two of the companions would get together, they wouldn't leave each other before they read Surah Al-Asr to each other from the beginning to the end, or one to the other, right? And then they would give salams to each other and, depart. And that could be understood, right, to be, I need them sort of like reminding one another. Again, you need to be, right? I'm saying this information not as like an exercise of breathing and air coming in and out for me, right? But for you to take notes, my brother. May Allah have mercy on you. Two companions of the Prophet ﷺ meet. Before they separate from each other, have a conversation, talk about whatever they talk about, meet about whatever they're meeting about. But before they leave each other, they would say, وَالْعَصْرِ إِنَّ الْإِنسَانَ لَفِي خُسْرٍ إِلَّا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالْحَقِّ وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالصَّبْرِ. Right? Assalamu alaikum. And then separate. Right? Now, the idea that you should think about, or that you should ask yourself, why would they do that every time they met? Right? That's what should come to your mind. You feel me, Sudays? Like, why would they do that every single time? Okay, so if we think about it for a second, right, and it might be a little bit, premature because we haven't covered it, so you may or may not know the meaning of the surah and the tafsir of it. But for those of you who have, if you've heard of it before in its tafsir and its meaning, right, you would think like, okay, it serves as a huge reminder, right, about what is success and what is failure in life, about the importance of time, significance of time. Which category do you want to be in? Like serving as a reminder for them, right? For one another, every single time they get together. But again, this is one of the virtues. Another one is a statement by Imam Shafi. So we're quoting Imam Shafi, rahimahullah, which, by the way, his name is Muhammad ibn Idris. So we're quoting Imam Shafi. We're quoting Imam Shafi, right? So now, so he said, لو ما أنزل الله حجة على خلقه إلا هذه السورة لكفتهم. Like, had Allah not sent down any other chapter except this one to mankind, it would have been enough for them. Had Allah not sent down any other chapter to mankind except this one, it would have been enough for them. So what is Imam Shafi trying to say here? Is he trying to say like, we only need Surah Al-Asr and then that's really enough? We don't need the rest of the Quran? Is that what he's trying to say? Yeah. What do you think he's trying to say?
Maybe like he's trying to say that this is like the importance and like the meaning that it has. If somebody like just followed like exactly what the Surah was telling them, that they wouldn't even have to like think of the possibility of like hellfire.
Couldn't have said it better. That's exactly right, brother. Right? That this surah, this chapter, right, in terms of the tremendous, right, guidance that it has in it, right, it would be enough. Because look at Allah is laying out, right, two paths. You're either a loser or you're successful. These are the key ingredients to success. And anything outside of that, look, so they said, you ain't even got to think about anything else. He said, outside of this, if you thinking about anything else, know for sure that's outside of success. Because Allah is saying, this is what success is. To think about anything else outside of that, that's loss. And it's a'zam al-khasara, and it is the greatest possible loss. And we'll get into why that is and what that means. So I do want you to remember that quote from Imam Shafi. Had Allah not sent down any other chapter to mankind except this one, it would have been enough for them. Right? طيب. Now, as far as when was this chapter or when was this surah revealed, right? So you would want to write that question down. When was Surah Al-Asr revealed? It is Surah Makkiyah, meaning it was revealed before the migration from Mecca to Medina. And again, just as a reminder, surah or chapters being revealed, when we say that they're Mecki or Madani, it's not necessarily, right, about the location. Even though we use the word Mecca or Mekkiya or Madaniya, but it's about the time. And the distinction of that time, Zakaria, is when they migrated from Mecca to Medina. Anything that happened revealed before them going to Medina and staying there and living there and establishing there, it's Mekkiya. Even if they came back to Mecca later on after the migration and it was revealed in Mecca, it would still be what? Madani, because it's about the time and not per se the place. Does that make sense, y'all? Anyways, and then in terms of
Like split it up, like what, like him, like you said in the family prophet, this is when he said it.
that's
For
like them distinguishing between. That's an excellent question. So he said, what was the need for them to distinguish whether it's before the hijrah or after the hijrah? Why can't they just, it's all revealed in the time of the Prophet ﷺ, relative to us, right? And the reason for that is there's different themes, different tones, different commands, and different focuses when they're before the hijrah. Before the hijrah, there was no jihad. Before the hijrah, they couldn't fight to defend themselves. Before the hijrah, there weren't as many rules and regulations. So for example, I would say almost a little bit just before they migrate, for example, they just had to pray, but there was no 5 daily prayers. There was no prayer exactly the way that we pray right now, right? 4 for Dhuhr, 4 for Asr, right? 4 for Isha. That wasn't like that. Actually, whenever they prayed, right, which was only in the morning and in the evening, they used to just pray 2 rak'ah, right? That happened before. That's some of the rules and regulations. Another rules and regulations around marriage, divorce, inheritance. All of those type of details that essentially help a community live together, right? That happened after Medina. So you could tell by reading like the surah, the chapter, and like what it's talking about, its focus, you can be like, oh, that must have been later on when the Muslims were a bigger ummah and community, and now they need these rules and regulations. That's one. Another thing, hold up. Another thing would be sometimes, well, if it was revealed in Mecca, which is an earlier time, then later on in Medina, after the Hijrah, right? It might be things that are revealed later on cancel out what happened early on, right? So you need to be able to know, was this revealed before or after? Because if it was revealed later on, then we know this no longer applies. And that's something called nasikh wal mansukh in the Quran, right? The chapters that no longer apply or are abrogated, right? By other verses. No, go ahead.
So like basically like before was like when it was trying to like the broader purpose, like trying people to like understand what Islam was, and like after the hijrah was like more about like the livelihood and what we were supposed to do as everyday Muslims after they learned basics.
That's exactly it.
Okay.
Us. So the themes and the things that focus on in the Meccan period, right? Or Meckiya is going to be the hereafter, belief in the hereafter, right? It's going to be belief in the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's going to be about, right? Just in general, being righteous and good, looking out for the weak, etc. These are the kind of things, right? Belief in the unseen. The 6 pillars of Iman, no, because again, that wasn't all broken down yet, right? In detail. But in general, belief in the prophets and messengers, and belief in the hereafter. And that there's a life after this world, the day of judgment. Right? Tell you. All right. So, anyways, as far as when was that, we said that it was Surah Makkiyah. It's revealed It's actually the 13th chapter to be revealed, right? So I want you to put that on there under like Surah Makkiyah. It's the 13th chapter to be revealed. Even though it's not number 13 in the Quran, right? It's not number 13 in the Quran as far as like the way they ordered it, but it is the 13th chapter to be revealed. It came after Surah Al-Inshirah, and it's before Surah Al-Adiyat. After Surah Al-Inshirah and before Surah Al-Adiyat. Yes. No. So again, good question. That's how the Prophet ﷺ was commanded to do it, as far as the order of the Quran, the organization and how it's laid out, right? That's what the Prophet ﷺ commanded the Sahaba. But if you look at that organization and that breakdown, look at how it is, right? All of the larger, bigger surah are on one side. All of the smaller ones are on the other. And then right in the middle, you have what are known as the Surah al-Mufassal, right? Those like mid-size chapters. So that's starting from, I can't even say the middle, but like towards the later part of the later part of the Quran. You can say like Surah Shura, from Surah Shura down, which is about 5 juz, right? So that's just what, 25, right? On down, those are all like shorter chapters, right? No, alhamdulillah. But you got to remember though, it's not a literary book, and it's also the composition as far as like the order, right? And the way that the Prophet ﷺ put it in, that's by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. No. Play him. Last thing, just some things to note about this surah. It's one of the shortest surahs in the Quran. Right? It's one of the shortest surahs in the Quran. The shortest chapters in the Quran are Surah Al-Asr, Surah Al-Kawthar, and Surah Al-Nasr. Surah Al-Asr, Surah Al-Kawthar, and Surah Al-Nasr. They're the shortest chapters in the entire Quran. And Surah Al-Asr only has 3 ayahs. 3 ayat. No. Now, as far as, and this last part real quick. The next thing is the focus of the surah. Again, that's a heading, the focus of the surah, right? Is in spite of the brevity of the surah, yani the shortness of this chapter, right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks about the reasons for true success or people being miserable in this life. And that there are only 2 categories. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks about the causes or the reasons for success in this life, and that there are only 2 categories of people in this life. Either you're a loser, fi khusran and khasara. No, I need you to put it away. I know what you're doing. Just put it away. No. Or successful. Huh? So we said everything we're talking about right now is not under those, right? The Arabic in the translation. We said we're going to go below that. Then you're going to write, this is all just about the surah. So we haven't started with the tafsir of the surah. So the heading I said now is focus of the surah. Focus of the surah, which is what? Allah explaining to us the causes of success or ultimate failure. And that there's only 2 categories in this life. Either you're a loser or you're successful, right? And why that is. And he essentially gives what those, he breaks it down very lucidly and simply, that there's 4 characteristics, 4 values, 4 things that you have to hold as priority over all other things, which is faith, righteous actions, cooperating with other believers, and cooperating with them in patience. That's it. And that is the foundation of the entire religion. That's the foundation of the entire religion. That is the focus of the surah. So, we're gonna, yes. إِلَّا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا, except for those faith, righteous actions, cooperating with other believers, and cooperating with them, cooperating with other believers in righteousness, and then cooperating with believers in patience. Yes. Yes. So real quick, subhanallah. This is the virtues of the surah. This is when was it revealed. Oh, I'm sorry. I almost forgot that part. All right. So before we move on, I need somebody to share with me what you have. I want somebody to read it. Yeah, just read your notes from the top. Where it says the name, etc.
Name, the chapter of time, virtues, like two things like me, like before they leave, they go through the Tafsir to each other, and they're like reminding each other of like the meaning of the surah, and that you're a loser, or at the end of your life, you're a loser or a winner.
Yep.
And nothing in between.
No.
Imam Ash-Shafi said, had Allah not sent any other surah to mankind, it would still be enough. And the surah was revealed, it was lengthy, it was the 13th surah to be revealed.
Yep.
Focus of the surah. I don't know, another kind of zone about that focus of the surah.
So somebody help him out. What is the focus of the surah? What's that? The cause for? Yeah, to be successful in life. Yeah. There's two of them. Those are the causes of success in this life. Loser or successful. Okay, I want you to say that again, and I want you to pay attention to what you're saying. All right, say it again. Right. But I'm saying, listen, right? Just listen to what you're saying. Okay, so just in real time, correct it. That's it. So just say it so it makes sense. Causes of success in our life, not causes of successful. Causes of success in our life. Okay, and what are they? Okay, play him. No problem. Help him out, right? That's okay. Sometimes we have a blind spot. It's okay. What are the causes of success? We don't want to giggle and laugh at. Help him out. What's up? Yeah, that's what he just said. He just said Allah mentions the causes of success in this life. Play them. So what are they? Allahu Akbar. There's four. Allahu Akbar. Go ahead, Abdurrahman. That's why I said listen to what you're reading. Pay attention to what you're reading. I know you know. That's why I wanted you to say it as opposed to I pointed out, because if I know you know it. But go ahead, Abdurrahman. Faith. Hold on. What was the first one? Faith was number one. Those are the means or the causes or the ingredients of success. Number two. You can't read it? Khair, no problem. Help him out. What's number two? Righteous actions, not just actions, righteous actions. What's number 3? Cooperating with the believers. What's number cooperating with what? Not colluding and cooperating in righteousness. Right? They got to be doing the right thing. So, for example, when people are colluding and cooperating with Israel right now, they're cooperating for sure. They're complicit for sure, but it ain't right. That's not righteousness. You understand? So you got to be clear about that. And number 4, impatience. And we're going to talk about each of those things, right, in a little more detail. But before we do that, right, y'all hear it and y'all see it. What do you think this surah means? And what do you think Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is trying to break down for us? I want to hear what y'all think first. What? No problem. I got you. What do you think Surah Al-Asr means when you read it? Like, how would you understand it? Right? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us, أَفَلَا يَتَدَبَّرُونَ الْقُرْآنَ, right? Don't they reflect and think about the Quran? So I'm not asking you to do a tafsir of the Quran where you're going to say, this is definitely what it means, and this is what I'm going to teach and tell other people. But if you were to sit down by yourself at home in your room and you were reading the surah, right? And I put it back up there so you can see it. What does it mean to you? And what do you understand? Take a minute to read it. And inshallah, I'll call on you first. Unless you're asking the okay.
It's not on the report.
Oh, my fault, y'all. I forgot I switched. Now. What's up, Shay? Or I said her first. Sorry.
Okay.
Go ahead, sis. They won't be as lost. MashaAllah, tabarakallah. Jazakallah khair. Very good. Allahumma barik. Anybody else? Sudais.
I would interpret it as like Allah cares less more about like the action than like the intention.
Hold up. Did you say less more?
And like Allah cares more about like the intention behind the action more than the action itself.
Does he? When he said one of the ingredients of success is righteous actions. So you're saying that he.
So like, what if someone was intended to like do a good action, but it turned out bad?
Okay, they intended a good action, but it didn't turn out that way. So do you mean they meant well, but then they did something the wrong way? So I'm trying to understand. Do you mean somebody intended good, but they didn't do it the right way?
Yeah.
Okay, khalas.
And like that community, like to like for Muslims to like come together and help each other. Because a lot of times like recommend one another to the truth, recommend one another to patience. So I feel like he's telling like the Muslim community to like come together and help each other.
Yeah.
Times of like confusion and problems in your own communities.
So let me ask, when it's not times of confusion and problems, should they come together? Yeah. Or only in times of confusion and
They should come in times of confusion, problems, and in times of celebration.
So all times, basically. Yeah. Okay. All right, khair. Okay. Jazakallah khair. Appreciate it. Yes. Mm-hmm. You should always remind people and want for your brothers and sisters what you want for yourself. Okay, I like it. Jazakallah khair. Hold on, I think there's no, my fault. I thought she was raising her hand. Go ahead.
My question is like, let's say there's someone and their intention is good, right? But the outcome is bad, and there's someone their intention is bad, but the outcome was like really good. It helped a good amount of people. Which one would Allah love more than that many?
Yes, sir. That's an excellent question, which we will get to when we start the tafsir of the surah. By the way, we have not started the tafsir of the surah. All right. So are there any other thoughts? Inshallah, sisters at this table? Huh? No. I'm not. You need to have something. You need to think. That's what I'm asking you to do. So, inshallah, what are your thoughts on this surah? Right? It's not, you're not allowed to sit here and just be like somebody mentioned earlier, oh, my fault, Sheikh, I zoned out. No. That's not acceptable. Right? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commands that you think about the Quran. Right? So this is your opportunity. It's 3 ayahs. When you read that, what do you understand? Remember, this is an opportunity and a part and parcel for you, right? Because I guarantee you, none of your parents sit at home and tell you this is how you're supposed to look and think about the Quran. I guarantee you, matter of fact, how many of you are even told you need to read the Quran, the translation? So like your parents, they go out of their way, make sure you be reading that translation, make sure because you don't speak Arabic, you don't. So, right, you're not going to come here and then we're just going to be like, oh, I'm not going to think about it. Yeah, that's what we're here for. All right. So I'm going to come back to you. Yes. How to not be lost and how to go to paradise. Allah, jazakallah khair. To have patience and always do the right thing. In times of pressure. I like it. Is that what she said? Times of pressure? Pressure. Time is precious. Okay. I like it. Jazakallah khair. That's it. طيب. And we're back. By the way, y'all can work together. It's no problem. Say that again. It's not you. I want y'all to be quiet real quick. Just listen. Shh. You hear that? That's directly above me. So oftentimes I can't hear you. So could you say that again, sister? Teaching yourself the truth and teach it to others before you teach it to others. Okay. Jazakallah khair. Yes. And buy time. Everybody's a loser, except for those who believe, do righteous good deeds, cooperate with others in righteousness or in the truth, and are patient. What do you understand from that? So if I do just righteous good deeds? No? So far, so good. You're on the right track. Definitely, for sure. That's part of the ingredients. What else is there? Is it only righteous good deeds? If you believe in Islam, إِلَّا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا, belief, yes. What else? By the way, sister, I promise you, it's not a trick question. It's not a trick question. Just look at the translation. Just tell me, what is it telling you? Okay, you said two ingredients: belief in Islam, righteous actions. What else is it telling us that we need to have? How about this, sister? You want to help her out? What's that? You want to join the good? Okay, so that's three so far. What's another one? Unity and patience. All right, Jazakallah khair. Play him. So, all right. So if we start with the tafsir of Surah Al-Asr. So now we're at Al-Asr, all right? Wal-Asr. First and foremost, the wow is for swearing. The wow is for swearing. For swearing by Allah, swearing, excuse me. So the wow, and there's other swearing in Arabic, right? You say wa, lahi, right? So that's wow, and then Allah. You could say ta, lahi. That's also a letter that's used for swearing, right? Billahi, or with Allah, right? MashaAllah, right? So what is the benefit of swearing linguistically? Like, what's the benefit? Why would Allah swear? Why would people need to swear? No. Now I'm just explaining right now. All right. Well, part of that is that number one, whatever is being sworn by, to show how important it is. That's number one. Benefit of swearing. That's what you need to write down. Every last one of you should have pens and pencils in your hands. All of you should be writing. Number one, benefit of swearing shows importance. Number two, to get attention, right? To get the people's attention, the audience's attention. So the thing that being sworn by is important, but then also, now number three, whatever comes after, like whatever you say after you swore, when you say wallahi, anything you say after that, right? Because now that you have that person's attention, that whoa, what he says, what he's about to say must be serious. Otherwise, he wouldn't have sworn. I got to pay attention because whatever after is important. Whatever comes after swearing is important. Number one, shows importance of whatever it is that you're swearing by. So swearing by Allah, because Allah is significant and important. No, and honoring, it's a way of honoring what you're swearing by. Number two, to get the person's attention. Number three, whatever you say after that is important. It's a good question. What I swore by is Allah. Wallahi. The thing that you swore by, that thing in and of itself is important. And then the statement afterwards is also important. Otherwise, how do I indicate to you that it's important? I got to swear by something that's real serious, right? So for example, non-Muslims would say, man, I put that on my mama. I put that on everything I love. Why are they telling? They're saying everything that's important to me, I'm swearing by those things that are important, right? So the thing in and of itself is important. Then whatever I'm saying right now, right, is also important. Do you see the distinction, brother? Okay, khair. All right, so now, that's just the letter Waw. Something else you need to know. All of this is still under wal asr. Allah swears by whatever he wants to. Allah swears by whatever he wants to. You and I, on the other hand, can only swear by Allah. And brother, it's getting a little bit frustrating. Please pick up your pencil. Allah swears by whatever he wants to. We can only swear by Allah. Allah swears by whatever he wants to. You and I, we only swear by Allah. If you swear by anything else, that is shirk. If you swear by anything else, that's shirk. If you say, I put that on my mom, I put that on my dad, I put that on everything I love, which, by the way, you hear sometimes Muslims say, that is considered shirk. Because when you swear by something, that is a way of honoring that thing, and respecting that thing, and venerating that thing. That's why you're invoking its name, right? I remember when I was in elementary school, there was a kid who his dad was dead, right? And anytime he wanted to show he was really serious, right, about anything, whether he's saying like, I'm about to fight you, or if you do this again, I put that on, he would always say, I put that on my dad, right? Why? Because of the honor, the respect that he had for his father. Does that make sense, y'all? So now that type of honoring and respecting from the Muslim is only for who? That should only be for Allah. So we are not allowed to swear. So there's a ruling here. It is haram to swear by anything other than Allah. I wonder, do you need to write that down? I wonder, do you need to write that in a ruling? It is haram to swear by other than Allah, and it's considered shirk. Tayyib. So now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he swore by time. Why by time? Right? We said Allah can swear by whatever he wants to, because all of it is his creation. All of it belongs to him. Why swear by time? Well, because time, that is the space that we reside in. War, peace, sickness, health, tragedies, times of prosperity, the good, the bad, the ugly, the bitter, everything, all of that happens within what? Within time. You doing righteous good deeds, bad things, are you doing wrong deeds? All of that happens within time. So it shows how important and significant time is. As a matter of fact, the Prophet ﷺ, he actually mentions, right? Ni'matani maghbughun fihima kathirun min an-nas. There are two tremendous blessings that many people take for granted. As-sihha wal-faragh. Their good health and their free time. People say we're killing time, we're just chilling, right? Not doing anything, right? And they look for means and ways of essentially, and the perfect example of this is like the thing that fills up most of our undesignated time is phones. If you look at that, they fill up, it tries to fill up, or the way that people use it, it fills up almost all undesignated time. If you're not in class, you're on your phone. If you're in the bathroom, you're on your phone. If you're standing in line at Target, you're on your phone. If you're in the car, you're on your phone. If you're on the bus, you're on your phone. If it's in between classes, you're on your phone. If you can get away with a moment of downtime, right? Like in class, when you think like, I don't have to take notes, I don't have to pay attention right now, or I'm already done, it's eaten up by your phone. Now, I'm not saying right now, good or bad, but Sudais, what I am saying though, is that if you look at it, people allow it to eat up any time that's not designated. I'm not working right now. I'm not in school right now. I don't have homework right now. I'm not eating right now. So pretty much anything else. So instead of reading a book, instead of learning a new skill, instead of a hobby, instead of doing something for your own personal enrichment, right? Like if I asked anybody here, how many of you have a hobby? Like something you do on your own free time other than your phone? Example.
I like playing badminton.
Okay, I didn't say if you have an interest. I said a hobby where you do something on your own, right? For your own personal enrichment because you enjoy that thing. Not because Hoya made you go to Taekwondo, not because dad, made you do something, they force you to do it. Something on your, you know what? I like drawing. And I have a little notebook. and I draw whenever I have free time, and I like doing that. And you know what? And I get better and better and better at it. Oh wow, did you go to art class for that? No, I just like drawing, and I just do it all the time. I like horseback riding. I don't even have enough money to go to horseback riding, but I know all about horses. I know all about aquarianism. I know all about, you know what I'm saying, the different breeds of horses and stuff. I just look it up on my free time. That's what I mean by a hobby. So if you are a badminton person and you badminton on your free time and you go to badminton tournaments and you know about badminton and which type is the best kind of racket, that's what I mean by hobby. And you do that on your own free time? Regular? MashaAllah. That's dope. Alhamdulillah. Huh? Okay, MashaAllah. Huh? Soccer. Yeah? MashaAllah. Yeah. Reading. Okay. But most people though, Zakaria, if we being for real, you know what I'm saying? I'm just Zakaria. I said most people. Now, does that mean you? No, it just so happens I'm looking at you. But most people, for real, Zakaria, do they really have hobbies for real? I said most people for real. Obviously, there's always an exception to the rule. There's always an exception. Yeah, there's a few people here and there. But most people, nah. I guarantee you. Just as soon as you walk out this room, what do 97% of the kids as soon as y'all walk out the door? Huh? As soon as they get on their phone, obviously. You know what I'm saying? And as soon as you get out of school, as soon as you get in the car, you know what I'm saying? Anyways, I don't want to take too long on that. Point though is that what? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala swears by time to show that it's important. You can only swear by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah can swear by whatever he wants to, but know for sure, to do good, to do bad, to do right, to do wrong, and everything else about life happens within time. Time is of paramount and the utmost importance. And this is something that all of us, myself included, that we have to get good at and to get better at. You ever try to go to a Muslim event? Huh? How often does it start out on time? Don't answer. How often does it start out on time? How often does it finish on time? How often does it, again, myself included, right? How well organized? In spite of the fact Islam has built-in mechanisms revolving around time. If you think about it, you have the 5 daily prayers, all related to what? Kitaban mawquta. They have designated times. When you make Hajj, can you make Hajj whenever you want to? It's at designated times. Ramadan, designated time. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions even about the days, right? And the year, right? He mentions it in the Quran. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala designated that way, that there's 7 days in the week, that there's 12 months out the year, right? That Allah designated like that. All of this about time, extremely important and significant. Al-Muhim, what's that? I wouldn't say time is everything because that's not clear enough. Unless you know what that means, but if I ask you to answer a question for me, time is everything would not be an answer that I understand. You might understand it and be like, time is, because that's where, live, die. That's where we have opportunities to do good, etc. Time is significant and important, right? Play it. So now, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, swears by time. That's under wal asr. And then he makes an exception. Or excuse me, he doesn't say make an exception. He says, Inna al-insana lafi khusr. That all of mankind. He says, Inna al-insan. And there's something y'all need to know about Arabic. Wow. Markers galore. Actually, I think I have enough space on there. I may not even have to do it. If you look up here, you can either write in san, right? That just means a person or people, excuse me. That just means people, right? Insanun means people, okay? If you write with alif and lam, Yes. That means now, right? This is this alif and lam is istighraq. It means all people, all of the people. That means men, women, children, all of them are what? Huh? All of the people are what? They're, according to this ayah, if we stop there, all of them, Sudais, are losers, which you need to write down. What? Istighraq. No, just the difference. Look it. Insanun. Al-insan. Right? And Allah said, Al-insan, meaning men, women, children, doctors, lawyers, street sweepers, cashiers, engineers, business owners, the 9 to 5 regular brother or sister, everybody is a loser. And if you stop there, Zakaria, if you stop there, brother, if you stop there, Sudais, that's scary. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he makes what's called istithna. He says, illa, an exception. Istithna means exception. What's the exception? Illa alladhina amanu wa amilu salihat wa tawasaw bil haqqi wa tawasaw bis sabr. He says everybody's a loser except for the people who have 4 characteristics. How many, Zakaria? 4 characteristics. Characteristics that they must have in order to be successful. Characteristic number 1, that they have to believe, they have to have faith. That's characteristic number 1. And that faith can have no doubt. That faith has no doubt. And when we're talking about faith in what? Obviously, we're talking about the 6 pillars of faith that are mentioned in the famous hadith of Jibril, right? But there are 3 kinds of people when it comes to faith. How many are there, Abdurrahman? 3 kinds. And I wonder if you mention a number, should you write that down? 3 kinds of people. People number 1, they believe without doubt. They have no doubt. You believe with no doubt. Number 2, category number 2, is there a kafir and they disbelieve? Category number 3, right? They're unsure. So there's people who believe and they have no doubt. Category number 2 is they disbelieve and they reject. And category number 3 is they're unsure. They're doubtful. I don't know. Does God exist? I don't know. I'm not really sure. Is there an afterlife? I don't know. And how can you know? How can you be sure? I don't know. Those are typically called agnostic people. Yes. Kafir. Yes, they reject the truth. They reject faith. No. And then we keep going. Okay. And know for sure that the only one that will be successful is that first category. The only one that will be successful is that first category. So what do we mean when they say they believe? We say they believe, right, in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that's 4 things related to Allah, belief in Allah. How many, y'all? 4 things. Number 1, you believe that he exists. That's simple enough, right? You got to actually believe there is a God before you can say, what's he like? What are his names, his attributes, his characteristics, etc. What does he want? What does he not want? Number 1 is you believe that he exists. Matter of fact, if you're making da'wah, when you talk to somebody, you got to have a starting point. Does this person even believe in God or not? If they don't, there ain't no sense in you talking about the beauty of hijab and, how, fair and just and equitable, the Sharia is, if they don't even believe in God. That would be the priority and the focus. Because that's the Zubda of Islam, Sudais, which you're not writing down, which I'm repeatedly telling you, brother. May Allah have mercy on you. Number 1 is belief in that he exists. Number 2, in his lordship. Belief in Allah's lordship. Number 3, belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's, the oneness of his worship. We said that's number 3. And then number 4 is belief in his names and attributes. All of that goes into belief in Allah. When we say al-imanu billah, number 1, belief in his existence. Number 2, belief in his lordship. Number 3, belief in the oneness of his worship. Number 4, his names and attributes. Yes, Zakaria. No, not yet, because we got too much information coming at you. Yes. This is under faith. Characteristic number 1 is faith. We are elaborating, explaining what we mean by faith. Faith in Allah. Those 4 things. Number 2, faith in the angels, that they're from the world of the unseen, beings created by Allah from light. Do I gotta beg you, Akhi? It's not up there. It's not up there. All right, it's up there, but if you speak Arabic, but I'm elaborating for you. But lock in, brother. That's what you came here for. That's what your mom and dad pay money for. Come on, brother. No. So they're beings created from light. No. That they have jobs and responsibilities. That they have names that we know of. Jibril, Mikael, Israfil. We believe in them specifically. Those that we don't know, we believe in them generally. Number 4, or excuse me, that's belief in Allah, the angels. Number 3, excuse me, the books. We believe that they're sent by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What? You said the time? What about time? We just said belief in Allah, and that entailed 4 things. Belief in the angels, that they're essentially being that from the unseen, created from light. They have jobs. Some we know, some we don't know. I haven't got to the books. Belief in Allah, the angels. Next is the books. And I'm in the middle of explaining the books. Now, and as far as the books are concerned, before I go to the books, what are some of the angels that we know of? Jibril. What are some other ones? Mikael, Israfil. What else? Huh? Malik. Right. Who's responsible for the hellfire? Well, there is none that starts with a K. But Munkar and Nakir. So those are examples of ones that we know their names because it's either mentioned in the Quran, like Jibril, right? And then there are Malik, right? The Khazin and Nar, and there are others that we don't know their names, right? The Prophet ﷺ, he actually mentions, he said in paradise, there is not the span or the width of 4 fingers, except that there is an angel either standing, prostrating, or kneeling, right, to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in worship of him. Meaning there are innumerable, only Allah knows their number, right? That there's the span of 4 fingers like this, right? Everywhere there are angels all over, non-stop, constantly worshiping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And they have different jobs and responsibilities. So what is the job of Jibril alayhi salam? He's the one who brings the wahi from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to the prophets and messengers. Now, what about Israfil? He's responsible for blowing the trumpet on Yawm al-Qiyamah, right? And there's an angel who's responsible for rain, etc. Right? And we already mentioned the one who's responsible, Malik, over the hellfire, Munkar and Nakir asking the questions, and others. We go on, the books. What about the books? What are the books that we know of? The Quran. And what else? That's his brother Piggy's. No. The Injil. What else? Okay, can you get this brother right here? No. The Torah. What else? Suhuf, Ibrahim, wa Musa, right? It's important because only those two have suhuf, right? Suhufi Ibrahim wa Musa. All right, what else? Huh? So those books, we believe in them, and more specifically, that they're revealed by Allah. This is important, right? Because Christians, they don't believe in the books like that, right? They believe that more akin to or similar to what we would call like hadith. That's what they believe, but they believe those to be their books. The book of Mark, Matthew, Luke, John, Leviticus, Deuteronomy, those different books, they believe the book of John or the Gospel of John, they believe people wrote their books, right? We don't believe like that. It's a very important distinction. We believe that revelation from Allah via Jibril, right? Allah speaking, then Jibril being entrusted to take whatever Allah says to them, right? That they're Allah's words. Best. Right? This is very important. Play it. Keep it moving. Belief in Allah, the angels, the books. What's the next one, y'all? I need y'all to tell me. What are they, Sudais? The what? All right. And we need you with us. And what does it mean to believe in the messengers, y'all? To believe in the prophets. And what else? The what? The notification? The revelation. We already said revelation from the books. The message that they brought. Got you. Okay, Tayyib. Yes. What else? Anyways, in brief, there are some that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us about in the Quran. There are others that are not. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in the Quran, minhum man qasasna alayka wa minhum man lam naqsus alayk. There are those that we've told you about, those prophets and messengers we told you, and there are some that we don't, or we haven't. The point though is that we believe in the prophets and messengers. Now, then last one is the Day of Judgment. Last two, excuse me, Day of Judgment. And what does it mean to believe in the Day of Judgment, y'all? This is all like baby Islam. This is all like elementary. You should all know this Islam. Yes, sister. That what? Everyone will die and go to the hereafter, the akhirah. Okay. What can we add to that, y'all? What can we add to that? I need y'all right here. What can we add to that? Belief in the Day of Judgment. She said everybody dies and goes to that. That's it? Is that all we believe about the hereafter? And I'm going to go table by table. What do we believe about? What do we believe about the Day of Judgment? To be judged for our actions. What do we believe about the Day of Judgment? That's the same thing she just said. Thank you for just remixing her words. Now, what do we believe about the Day of Judgment? Please don't start thinking when I come to you. Think now. Use your brain now. Use your brain before I come to you. Yes, sister. Anything whatsoever that we know about the Day of Judgment. Anything. Okay. Anything we know about the Day of Judgment. That means you need to think sister. There's going to be some people that what? They're going to be gone, running around. There is no running around. Everybody's going to be staying. And it's one day, and that one day is considered like 50,000 years of our time. But Jazakallah khair. Yes. What do we believe about the Day of Judgment? Jazakallah khair. That's what she said.
It's like our last stage.
I'm not talking to you, I'm talking to him. The last day on earth. Anything that we believe about the day of judgment.
That the sun will get full, like the angels will pull the sun onto them and destroy them.
Okay, you bring the details I went there. Sun getting closer, yes. Angels pulling that, etc. That's not from the Quran. No, but the sun coming closer, yes. Okay, yes. Give me an example of one. Okay, what do we believe about the day of judgment? What's that? Get out of it. Get out of it. Take yourself, get out of it. Yeah, go ahead. Brother, did I speak English? Habla español? Or English, excuse me, take your stuff. Go ahead, Abby. Now, go ahead. What do we know about the day of judgment? That's already said 1, 2, 3 times. Wait out there. Huh? Brother, I'm speaking clear English. Wait out there, brother. Thank you. You want to make sure you get the last word? Is that what it is? Are you sure? Because I can keep going. No. Anything whatsoever. Remember, that's why you have me thinking now. You've had little 3, 5. I ain't got to you yet. 6 people before you. Yeah, so then you gotta do what? You gotta pivot. You gotta think about something else. You can't be like, oh dang, he stole mine. So I'm gonna go into sleep mode. You gotta keep moving. All right, please. Today, what I asked you.
Yes, but I have something else.
Yes, sir. What's up?
Is there like 7 people with shades in the sun?
Yes, sir. Stop right there. You already said. What's up? What? Yes, you did. Stop right there. What's up? Yes, it's mentioned in the Quran. Stop right there. Go ahead. Stop right there. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Is that before or after the dedication? No problem. Go ahead. Retouch. That's been mentioned 3 times now. This is the 3rd time. Okay. I ain't forgot about you, sister. So what's up? Okay. Yes. What's that? Which question in the grade? Okay. Yes. Okay. You say anything already? Go ahead. Tell us. Play. Tell us. If you look at it, even though we said only the day of judgment, all of that is included. All of that is included in belief in the day of judgment. There's actually a quote by Shaykh al-Islam Taymiyyah, right, where he says, when speaking about the day of judgment, right, it is everything that happens after you die. So when you die, that's considered like the minor day of judgment. When you die, that's considered the minor day of judgment, i.e., your own personal judgment has started because you're going to be questioned in the grave. And right, by, as Zakaria already mentioned, not with a K, but with a meme or an M, Munkar and Nakir, right? Those two angels that come and ask you, who's your Lord, who's your prophet, and what's your messenger? Or excuse me, who's your and what's your religion? Excuse me, right? And then, based on how you respond and how you answer those questions, which of course is based on how you lived according to those questions in this life before you died, then you will either be right furnished with furnishings from the hellfire or furnishing from paradise. So it's like your own personal judgment already starting. That's not the actual day of judgment, though. Then the actual day of judgment, when everybody will be brought out of their graves, right? And that's the actual day of judgment, which is one day, but it's considered like 50,000 years. 50,000 years. And then in terms of people waiting, as opposed to running around, when they're waiting, right? According to their bad deeds, they'll be sweating because they'll be naked, unclothed, which is the same thing. Barefoot, right? Uncircumcised. And even Aisha radiallahu anha, the mother of the believers, she said, Ya Rasulullah, the men and women will be together looking at each other. And he reminded her, he said, Al-amru ashaddu min dhalik. Like the affair, what's going on at that time, nobody will care. Nobody's looking at and nobody's thinking about that because of the horror and the terror and everything that's happening at that time. The end of the world as we know it, everything is different. Nobody cares about, is he handsome? Is she beautiful? Nobody cares about that at that time. And they'll be sweating according to their bad deeds. Some will be to their ankles, some to their knees, some to their waist, some will be drowning. The sun will be brought closer, right? To the extent that the Prophet said it'll be 1 mile away, which, by the way, now the sun is 83 million miles away from the earth right now. Think about a hot day when it gets to like 100 degrees. Tell them to wait, Akhi. It's the same time every day. It's the same time every day. Think about when it's 106 degrees, 103 degrees. Even this summer, didn't it get up to like 99 degrees? Didn't it get almost like to 100 degrees? How hot was it? That's when it's 83 million miles away. Imagine the Prophet said it'll be brought 1 mile away. How will we not melt, burn up, shrivel up? Allahu A'lam. Remember, this is belief in the unseen, belief where this is something that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala or the Prophet Muhammad tells us about, and we believe it. Will we be recreated in such a way where we can handle that? Now, brother, if you bring out your phone again, me and you are going to have beef. All right? Now, brother, as I've already said, Jazakallah khair. Now, you're supposed to leave at 12 anyways. Khalas. Assalamu alaikum. Now, assalamu alaikum. Last thing. No, that's him, not you. Brother, I'm in the middle of explaining the class. Brother, do not show me that. Do not show me. I'm not looking.